Hey! The last digit of your like on this video by each who you are from Melon Playground, and the last digit of your subscription to my channel will show your Melon Playground item. So go down right now, subscribe and give me a like. Look at the screen. Notice the last digit of your like and your subscription and write in the comments who you are from Melon Playground. It's simple, if your like is number 8 and the last digit of your subscription is number 5, you're a lemon and a cactus. Show your imagination and enjoy the show. Hi everyone, and you're on the Melonfonk channel. What's that on your nose? It's the year 2024. In the year 2024, I want to wish you all first of all health, inner awareness and happiness for you and your loved ones. This is very important, balance and harmony. A lot of interesting things have happened to us during this year. Ups and downs, a lot of work has been done. 143 videos for a year, 48,000 subscribers and millions of my videos viewed by you. Thank you. I would like to share with you the emotion you give me on a daily basis. I want to say a huge New Year's Eve thank you to these guys for being in my video. There will be a lot of you today. As practice has shown you most of all like something mysterious in the game Melon Playground, which means that in this video we will remember, and maybe even show something new. And that's 100 facts about Melon Playground, so sit back, make some tea and enjoy the show. Well, and the first 4 myths will be from our subscribers, so just listen to the information. And by the way, how do you like the new platform? I think it turned out well, and write your opinion in the comments. Well, the first myth or fact sounds like this: if you spamnavat melon, then add 45% of the fact that instead of melon spamnavat skeleton. I do not understand where these percentages come from, but let's check if it really works. And here we are already spawning our melons on our new interesting site, and look, really after a few melons just shows up, it's an animat or something. I'm actually spamming it with a regular default melon. And look at that, the actual regular skeleton is no different than the skeleton that you get when you activate the acid syringe. All in all, it's quite interesting, and let's move on to the next myth. Well, myth number 2 or facts, call it what you will. On the bus, you may notice a Christmas tree shaped flavoring behind the glass in the front of the bus. And let's check it out in person. I've never noticed it. We take our bus and we try to spawn it. And look, even with the unarmed eye we can see that actually in the front of the bus behind the glass we have a Christmas tree or a flavoring in the shape of a Christmas tree. And let's break the glass and look a little bit closer and see this moment. And it's really cool. In general, it's such a passkey, to be honest. I'm very much in favor of them. When developers pay so much attention to detail, write in the comments if you knew about it. And the next myth from our subscriber. If you spawn a skeleton instead of melon and put a syringe of regeneration there, he will not turn back into melon, and he will remain a skeleton. Anyway, it's quite interesting, and let's give it a try. And here we have our skeleton. Let's just throw a syringe of regeneration in there and see, which is going to be very interesting to see if it actually works. And yes, look, it actually works. It actually turns back into a skeleton. I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Even though it should be the other way around, it should turn into Melon. It's pretty amazing, as if the skeleton is a separate NPC. Write your opinion in the comments, and I had a lot of fun watching it. Well, the next fact is as follows. Listen, Melonfonk, I found an interesting bug. If you take a cactus and peel it, and then you would a syringe of the virus, it becomes a regular cactus before it becomes a zombie. Please add it to the video. I've always wanted to do that. You're the best. I loved you in the video and thank you for such a compliment. Anyway, let's see if this actually works. Take our cactus and take our 2 new syringes, inject first acid and look, it gradually turns into a skeleton. We need to be sure to inject the regeneration syringe in time. And we inject the syringe and watch the result. He starts to really turn into a regular cactus, and then he turns into a zombie. But for some reason, he's only half a zombie. All in all, it's a very interesting phenomenon, and I'll probably keep it because I've never seen anything like it before. In fact, it really works, and if you want you can try it yourself. And I got either a bug or I do not know how else to call it interesting. Write your opinion in the comments, I will always be interested to read it. Let's move on to the next myth. Well, the next myth is number 5 and it's from me. We can get a skeleton in the mod editor, essentially in the exact same way as on the map. We just go to the mod editor and start trying to edit our regular melon. After a few tries, we may notice that we actually somehow magically get a skeleton. A reference and passphrase that I'll reveal at the end of the video, so don't rewind and watch to the end. But we're moving on to the next myth. Well, the next myth is called white blood. If we sleep our skeleton, which is derived from melon, it will not have red blood, but white blood. And it's absolutely true. Look how it works. We spawn our skeleton and we try to crush it and see if it actually has white blood. And it is very interesting why the skeleton has blood in principle, because it is a skeleton, which means that the developers hint that it is already a full-fledged NPC, which can be obtained only in certain conditions, which we will again talk about later. And the last myth for today. More precisely, it's a bug in the update again. You can fence a bus with any object, absolutely any object. In my case it will be a laser cannon, just need to Zaspavnet laser cannon in the gap between the roof and the bus. Luggage from above and our bus will be just the most strange behavior, it will be shaking and various strange things with it will also happen, which I do not even want to talk about, because it should not be. And why developers do not post their favorite fixes, which are released in just a couple of days. After all, it's been a week since the previous update, and in fact, during this time nothing has been fixed. Which just casts strange doubts about the developers not wanting to deal with this update. Because of this they are definitely disrespectful. Write your opinion in the comments. Well, and one last life hack for today. All these myths and facts today are not just related to this skeleton. It's a reference from our developers. And it's pretty simple and trivial. This all only works on October 31st. And if you haven't had a chance to check it out, I'll tell you how to fix it. All you have to do is go to the calendar and set the date to October 31st. And you'll always have this skeleton. And if you do not want to constantly rewind this date and you like the new skeleton, it's simple, you just need to save it. Realistically, just seize it and you have it forever. As your NPC. Catch a life hack say so from Melonfonk, I'm always happy to help you in such a case. And that concludes my video. I want to tell you that most likely on my channel tomorrow will start a challenge that I don't want to lose. First fact. Update 18.0 is dedicated to the 2-year anniversary of Melon Playground. I think it's no secret that this update will be dedicated to this event. And really, a lot of past hacks converge to this, which is all for the sake of rolling out this update and just to give you emotions on the 2-year anniversary of Melon Playground. To which I congratulate you. It is because of this game that my channel exists, it is because of this game that you watch me, it is because of this game that we are all connected. Enjoy today's video and just celebrate with me this really great date. And fact number 2, now in Melon Playground added a workshop in which you can download mods and buildings that published by other users, and it all became much easier to do. At the same time, the buildings are constantly updated every 24 hours, that is, every day. The developers of Melon Playground update your suggestions and add your mod or your builds to the Melon Playground workshop. I just want to thank the developers for such a cool and really cool innovation. And it works very simply. All you have to do is go to the workshop, click on the download button and download your build or mod. And it all works as simple as possible. Well, fact number 3, it was on this date that the Melon Playground icon was updated. Honestly, I don't understand what exactly the change in permanent icons is related to, and what they reference. If you have a guess as to what the Melon Playground icon refers to in the screen you have on your screen, please post it in the comments. I'll be very interested to read your opinion. Well, and the next fact, added a new mod editor, now it is much more convenient to put new textures. Now you can really very cool and very quickly load new melon textures in Melon Playground. And they are now size independent. Mod creators I think will understand. To load a new texture, you need to load a texture was a certain size. Whereas now you can load absolutely any picture and just set the hitboxes for the hand, head, and so on. All of this is very easy to do and really takes a minimal amount of time. And then there's the next fact. There are festive items that refer us to the holiday game, and these items cake we have here is such an interesting beautiful cake, which of course can be broken well in fireworks that were in previous polls exactly fireworks and cake we refer to this holiday. And fact number 6. The fireworks from the new update do just tremendous damage, and a few fireworks can even tear apart a stone wall and more. To demonstrate this, let's build a room. A room made of brick walls. We'll just put our melon in there and set off about 10 fireworks. I think it's gonna be not only beautiful, but it's gonna be roof raising for our melon, literally. Just look at the slow motion footage, it's as beautiful and really powerful as possible. 2 whole walls just simply disintegrate into splinters, and it's just gorgeous. I didn't appreciate the fireworks in the previous video to begin with, but now I appreciate the piece, and it's really beautiful. Well, in the last fact, or rather, I would like to show you, which will be in this video, to make for our car flashlight, that is, the light to be from the headlights, we need only a couple of actions. It's a real nice and cool looking thing. For your builds or different movies, it's just great. You can make a really nice looking car with cool lights. And in order to do that, we just need to put a flashlight to our headlights and attach it just with the regular mounts that we have in Melon Playground. And we attach a regular flashlight to the front headlight and put the settler on the background. For the Edison lamp, it is necessary to set the red color, and the flashlight can simply put forward and hide it so that it was not visible. And we get this beautiful car that shines with headlights. And it's really cool. I do not know why the developers did not immediately put the headlights that can shine for this car. I think it would be much more interesting and beautiful. Well, in fact number 1, a new background was added, which is actually very different from the previous one, not only by its style, but also by the fact that there is an animation of the back objects. And to be honest, it's very cool, but the animation itself is very cheesy, that is, it's actually super simple, that is, it's made with just motion animation, that is, it's not even motion animation, it's just some fluctuations that are thrown into the After Effect. I got this impression. But despite this, it still gives some kind of live picture of the background itself, which definitely leaves only pleasant positive emotions from being in the game Melon Playground, for which definitely want the developers just for the fact that they added such a small thing. But it's nice all the same and want to put the developers for it like. Fact number 2, you all already know that a new NPC has been added, the cactus, but few people know that this is in honor of the item cactus, which was added because of winning a contest. About half a year ago, there was a contest, and whoever makes a very cool looking mod, then surely this mod will make it into the game itself. And so it did. In fact, this character is legendary because of his popularity as a mod amongst the Melon Playground. It's very strange that the developers only added cactus now, but at least thanks for not paying homage to such a cool NPC like this. Fact number 3, a lot of people already know, but in a new character, cactus can fall off the top part of the head, which is a kind of stem of this cactus. Also interestingly, if you put a hat on the head of this cactus, the prickles of this cactus will also fall off. Very cool, but the developers still added some charm to this NPS, and really all the details are always important. I think that all the same due to its details, this character so positively fit into the game Melon Playground, unlike the same robot, which is for me generally superfluous. Cactus can fall off the top part of the head, which is a kind of stem of this cactus. Very cool, but the developers still added some charm to this NPS, and really all the details are always important. I think that all the same due to its details, this character so positively fit into the game Melon Playground, unlike the same robot, which is for me generally superfluous. And fact number 4. Everyone already knows that on the door of the bus there is a reference to Melon, drawn as if with a finger on the dirt of the car. And to be honest, I like it when developers pay so much attention to details, because it's the details that always decide. Write in the comments what details you noticed in the new update 19.0 in Melon Playground. Maybe I missed something, and also write in the comments new facts and myths, which we will talk about in future videos. This is your chance to get into the history of my channel. I wish you the best of luck. And fact number 5. There are also a few bugs of the new bus. For example, you can spawn a grenade inside the roof, which makes it roll strangely, and driving the bus by touching it becomes a bit problematic. Just look at how the bus starts to clobber as soon as we start making contact with the bus when there's a grenade in it. Anyway, it's super weird. I think the developers should fix it. And actually this roof, to me, should break on contact with the ground. I mean, when we're trying to destroy a bus, I think the roof should also deform somehow, otherwise it looks kind of weird. Write in the comments if you think the same. And also, if you put a cactus on a bus, its head will be sticking out of the door like he was crushed by the door. Honestly, it's super weird. I think that shouldn't happen in a game. And if the developers see me today and listen to my, let's say, micro podcast, then please, you should clean that up somehow and you should still fix it, because it's really weird. It's all hitboxing, it's easily fixable. I don't understand why you didn't think of it at all. You just look at how cheesy it looks. Realistically, it's like he was just crushed by a door. Anyway, it's super weird, so let's move on to the next fact. And fact number 6. If you toss a cactus and an apple into the water, they will become similar, only the cactus will have more of that green color. It's more like a lime color. As if they were brother and sister. In general, it's very interesting and really such a cool micro moment that the developers have thought of somehow. Although it seems to me that the insides of the cactus should be more dark green or white, that is the juice of the cactus, it is usually just white. Interesting fact about cacti, by the way, but you can't eat it, because many cacti are poisonous, and not all cacti contain useful moisture that can be eaten. Encyclopedia minute has passed, so let's move on to the next fact. And the last fact for today. If you rip off the flowers of a cactus and revive it, the flowers will not grow back, and this is a cool detail, or maybe it's a bug of the developers. I don't know how you think about it. And the first fact of the day, which I don't think many people know. If you stick a working flashlight underwater, it will stop working after a while. And let's see how that works in principle. Let's put the flashlight on the map, turn it on and wait a while. And as you can see, after a while our flashlight stops working. Even though it worked fine underwater before. I think whether the flashlight to stop working underwater is enough to just give a certain amount of time. I think that after about 3 minutes the flashlight stops working underwater, but it shines well under the water column. Write in the comments if you didn't know this. And the second fact. You can lift an entire car with Salute and later it can be launched just into the stratosphere. Salute is a powerful enough thing in Chalk Playground, which can lift the car, and after breaking the Salute the car will be thrown to a far distance, and let's check how it works. I have prepared in advance a huge number of fireworks, which I placed under the car, and now they just need to be activated and see what happens to the car after such a huge number of fireworks. Man, our car just takes off because there are more fireworks on one side, or more likely, the whole car is just uneven, it ducks to the other side, and after generally falls underwater. And underwater, by the way, the Salute also explodes, although you can't see the colors. But it is quite spectacular. To be honest, I did not expect such a result. Write in the comments if you're surprised too. Well, and the next interesting fact. Probably few people know, and in principle few people have checked, that fireworks can be launched not only the usual activation. You can take the element or flamethrower. For example, you put, let's say, a small number of fireworks, just take the element fire and ignite with fire. The same can be done with a flamethrower. Quite interesting and simple, in fact few people know about it. Well, as for me it is very convenient and really beautiful. And the next fact is, I think you didn't know about it. With the help of a candle you can start our fireworks, and it's really true. Let me show you how it works. Take absolutely any fireworks and absolutely any candle, it doesn't matter, it's not pre-prepared items, and we just light the candle and bring it close at point blank range to the fireworks and watch it really ignite and really work. It's quite interesting. I think you didn't know about it. Well, and the next fact about the space map, if you go to the map with space you can easily change the light of this moon. Just do. Let me show you how it works. We go to the map with space and go to change the color of the map. There we just set any value and look, the moon really changes its color. I think a lot of people have checked this out, but I wanted to show it to you too, because I only learned about it today when recording this video. I hope you enjoy it. Go check it out if you still didn't know about it. I think it's really cool how it works. And by the way, additional fact. Fireworks are a little bit different, they work a lot faster, just because there's no gravity and the fireworks have like no barriers, and that's why the fireworks work so fast. It's really funny. And on to the next fact. Did you know that the cake from the new update is a pretty weird thing in general? Not only do they have really bad hitboxes. Look at it, it's like it's hanging in the air. I think that shouldn't happen in a game with such a huge online every day. But that's not the point. Have you ever tried to set that cake on fire? I didn't think you'd be able to. Let me use the elements to show you what happens when you light our cake on fire. And at first glance it looks like nothing, it burns a little bit and it starts to darken. Eventually it just bursts apart. I don't know what this is related to and why it works so badly. I just think that the developers didn't really care about how to properly make this cake and it's executed just terribly, which is why it has such properties. Write in the comments if you didn't know that and go check it out if you don't believe me. One last fact for today, but not the worst. A huge amount of BTR in theory can lift it into the air, a short distance away. Let's see how it works. We're taking the APC and I've got it all set up in advance. Look at the huge amount of fireworks I've put underneath and let's see what happens if we activate them. Our APC is struggling to lift a little bit out of the air and look what happens if our fireworks explode under the APC. Boom, and look, just our APC flies into the stratosphere a huge amount of distance, and his wheels even blackened. It's just interesting. Man, the explosion is really powerful, such a huge amount, and even the APC cannot withstand, although in Chalk Playground lately such a strange physics that the APC is not even damaged. Although it seems to me that such a large number of sluts to him, clearly something had to rip off. Like it if you like that fact. It's been a long time since there were such videos on my channel, so as always we will return our good old rubric, and these myths will be today. From our subscribers I have collected the most interesting in my opinion. And let's get to the first myth. And the first myth is as follows. If in the settings of the phone to leave the date January 4th, 2023, then as if all melons will have a look at themselves. Anyway, this comment is a little bit misspelled, but still. In general, this myth is quite old, but since we have a new update, which added a cactus, then accordingly a little bit of this myth will work differently. So, on April 1st, as you all know, we have melons look directly into your eyes, they have a second eye. And so, if we spawn a cactus in 1.04, our cactus will have an apple head. And it's very interesting, look, it really works. And it's a little bit scary to be honest, because it's an apple-headed cactus and it's looking right at you, it's like a monster, I don't know, it's really creepy. Write your opinion in the comments if you like this myth and be sure to try it if you haven't already. And let's move on to the next myth. Well, the next myth goes as follows. Anyway, Melonfonk, if you put clothes on a cactus, its flowers will fall. I checked, you are the best, I really want to get in the video. Please notice, after 4 weeks I noticed you, thanks for commenting. Let's see if this actually works. So, we spawn our cactus, head and apple because I still haven't temporarily cleaned up the old one, but I guess it's not a big deal. We take the clothes and just put them on our cactus and watch. If we put a regular robe on, basically nothing changes, the cactus stays the same. But if we put something on our head, the cactus actually has its prickles fall off. And to be honest, I don't recall one that I checked, or maybe I did and just forgot. Write your opinion again in the comments, I will always be interested to read your opinion. In general it really works and the myth is actually working, to be honest, even a little surprised. Well, in the next myth sounds as follows: what will happen if to combine half of Melon immortal and the other half of Melon not immortal? In general it is really interesting because I have not seen it anywhere yet, never checked, so let's go to the map and try to realize it somehow. In general I tried for a long time somehow to tear off the body of Melon, that he's somehow one half to the map with the help of ordinary metal harness, and so we tear off half and inject one half in immortality. And it seems to me that it might actually work as one complete body when we connect it using a limb connector, and it might actually work. The keyword is possibly, because I don't know what the result will actually be. In general, let's try. We have done all this, of course, somehow injected, loam connected, and in general we have a ready-made whole Melon with one half of immortality and the other half not immortality. And we're trying to see if he'll actually become immortal. And look, he's still mortal, although to me he's supposed to be immortal, but maybe not. Anyway, it's very strange. I still don't understand how it works. And okay, let's move on to the next myth and try to do it on your map. Write the results in the comments. I wonder if you can put an Edison bulb in a thing where you put candles. I think this myth would be, so let's just check it out right away. We put our candle holder and we try to put an Edison lamp in there, and look, of course it doesn't work. I don't know why I didn't think to check this before, but it really doesn't work. It would be cool if it did work. We'd have, let's say, an imitation of a regular candle, although it would be an electric candle, it would be an electric lamp. Anyway, it doesn't really work. And let's move on to the next myth. Let's not waste our collective time. Well, the next fact. If you shoot a pinball gun for a long time, first it will fall down, but if you shoot it further, it will die. And this is actually, I find it very interesting, because it's a really old fact. This comment was left by one of my subscribers a long time ago, and let's check it out. Then our pinball cannon, put our Melon, and just wait. I'm going to put the time now, let's say on pause, on fast forward, so I don't waste a lot of your time, because I think it's going to take a while. So, after a while, look, our Melon just fell over. And believe me, after a while, of course he's going to die. So there's no point in checking any further, because it actually works. Which, to be honest, surprised me a little bit. And I don't remember checking that. Write your opinion in the comments whether you knew about it, and let's move on to the next fact. Well, the next myth or fact, call it what you want. If you put a knight helmet with a hole in it and shoot any weapon into the hole, Melon won't get injured. And it could very well actually work, because knowing how many bugs there are in the Melon playground, then I wouldn't be surprised that it actually works. And let's try to implement it somehow. Let's put our Melon on, put a knight's helmet on him, and pick up absolutely any weapon. I have now chosen the coup, or if otherwise automatic rifle, and we just point our receiver right in front of Melon's face in the open part of the helmet, and let's try to see if it really works in Nylon playground or if it's just a myth, and let's see. And in fact our Melon just immediately sours as if I did not shoot. Of course if we shoot, and in fact, our man is not really lying. Maybe it was once a working method to kill our Melon or save our Melon respectively, but now it is already fixed, and in fact it doesn't work. One last myth for today. If you turn on the Jeep and pause the game, the Jeep sound continues. And that comment was based a whole 6 months ago, so maybe this myth was working then, but now it's actually, I think it may not work after all, but let's see if it works. In general, put our Jeep and just try to start it as something to manage, interact with it and respectively put on pause, and look, I have now left you only sounds listen to. Essentially it does not work, really it basically does not work, and the sound we do not go during the pause that says that perhaps the man is a liar in. What if you change the color of the flashlight to black? Will it shine nothing? In general, this is a very interesting question, in principle an interesting foundation for testing myths. Let's see what happens if you put a flashlight on the map, turn off his black light and try to shine. Let's check what happens if we fulfill all the conditions, and in fact guys, and nothing happens. Realistically, it just doesn't shine the black light. I mean, I thought it would be really cool if it actually shines black, but it basically shines nothing. So there's nothing that's quite interesting, and in general darkness is the absence of light and it's impossible to shine black, so all the physics conditions are met. And the next myth is when you stretch a garland it has more and more bulbs on it. Please check it out. I think that's very interesting, and let's see if that actually works in Melon Playground. And moving on to the map, we can take about, let's say, a flashlight just in on the pause stretch, let's say our garland, and let's see. In principle, whether we can even get a check or not. Yes, in principle it really works, our garland stretches, and there are more and more bulbs as cool works. I do not know how much it is necessary and useful, but it works. Well, the next myth is interesting. Is it possible to put an Edison lamp in the place where candles are inserted, if this thing is called a candlestick? Everything is quite simple, and let's check. I was actually interested. I think that this is basically illogical if it works, but if it doesn't work, then basically everything is correct. Let's see, we take an Edison light bulb and just try to put an Edison light bulb in our candlestick. As you can see, it's staring, but it's not put on something wrong. In general, it does not work or does not work partially. That is, in principle, it somehow works, but it is completely not as it should be. Therefore, it is possible to move on to the next myth, because it does not work until the end. Well, the next myth of oh my god is that I'm in the video. Congratulations, buddy, you got there again. Bug's explanation of Melonfonk. I'm sorry very much, I accidentally forgot to write that it is necessary not to shoot from a pistol, but from a paintball gun, and then clothes or armor should be in the foreground. I've been playing with the phone in general. Let's check this myth again and see if this myth works in principle on any of the devices. I think that there is no difference in devices. In general, we just start shooting at our melon, which is already dressed in a bulletproof vest, from our paintball gun, and see the result. And as you can see, in fact, nothing changes, except that as if our bulletproof vest is essentially invisible, that is, it does not protect our melon from paintball gun hits. Pay attention as if the bulletproof vest is not worn on the body, and look, after a while, after all, our melon dies from paintball weapons. Although, in fact, it is in a bulletproof vest that can withstand at least the caliber of a pistol. In general, this is a very strange bug. To be honest, it really works, and I don't know why it works in principle and how the developers missed it. If you are a developer watching my video, then be sure to fix it. Well, let's move on to the next myth, or you can say bug, I don't know, judge me as you want. Bug, if you put a red background and put a pumpkin, the background will turn black. Let's see how it works. To be honest, I doubt it works. And so we just change the background to red and, in fact, put just a pumpkin, and that's it. Let's take a look, and nothing changes, although the color of the map is actually cool, and if it worked, it would be very strange, but it doesn't work. Most likely you had some kind of bug that the whole map is black. In fact, this happens to many people, but if this does not happen, then, in principle, everything should work for everyone, just like I have on the screen now. So it doesn't work, and maybe I did something wrong, so be sure to write about it in the comments. Well, the last fact for today, an interesting fact: if you take garlands and remove the light bulbs, you get a wire, and let's check it. We take a garland and try to remove our light bulb, and honestly, I can't just take it and remove it. I would like to try to do this, but something does not work out for me, and perhaps I am doing something wrong again. And let's get to the first fact. And the first fact is as follows. If you stick a smoking vacuum cleaner in water, it will release bubbles. Frankly, I'm very interested in seeing this and testing it. And let's just start checking it out. There are several ways to make a vacuum cleaner smoke. You can set it on fire and wait a few minutes, or you can just stick it running under water and then it's on. Let's do both ways at the same time and just make it smoke really fast. And so our vacuum cleaner is already doming, and let's stick it under water. And look, really under the water began to appear interesting bubbles, which shows that the developers did not score on this point and still tried to fix it. For what, of course, they only show them respect, because it is really very interesting and in principle micropascalaka turned out. So use it, if you are interested in it, you can of course check it. And use this fact, I don't know. Let's move on to the next fact. Well, the next fact is as follows. If you freeze the vacuum cleaner itself and pull hard on the tube, it will break and stop working. To be honest, I already know the answer to this, shall we say, question, and it really works. And let's just go to Melon Playground and do it. Let's not procrastinate. First we turn it on and we yank the hose sharply and look, it actually stops working. By the way, here's an additional fact. You can strike the vacuum cleaner just pulling very hard on the hose will just frantically spin in the air. In this way, as if it were a snake. Anyway, it's very interesting, to be honest, it's really quite funny looking. And if you don't believe me, make sure you check it out for yourself in this game. Well, let's move on to the next fact, but rather this one is not a fact but more of a myth. And if you reduce melon, then logically the vacuum cleaner should suck it into itself. Let's see how this works. To be honest, I'm very interested. I warn you in advance, this should be done in slow motion. On normal footage, our melon will just break down constantly and it will honestly take you a very long time. And so you put it on slow motion, it really works. Put it on slow motion and look, our melon is very small, and if we try and suck it into a vacuum cleaner, then honestly nothing happens. First of all, the melon becomes very light and it's very easily attracted to the vacuum cleaner, but basically nothing happens, and look, our vacuum cleaner in slow motion is constantly bouncing around with the melon right now, it's flying somewhere far away. Honestly, I didn't expect to see this, and try to check it out for yourself, it's really very interesting and funny. Well, the next fact is, if you suck a vacuum cleaner on it like that, it will fly, and I've tested that and it works. I don't know, let's check this fact from our subscriber, and honestly, it sounds very intriguing. I think it might even actually work, because there's just a huge amount of bugs around this vacuum cleaner. And honestly, I spent about 5 or 10 minutes trying to just do it, and honestly, I was not able to do it at normal speed, but in slow motion it really starts to take off, but it doesn't take off as high as the subscriber wrote about it, but it really works partially, 50-50, but if you want to check it you can do it. In principle in Melon Playground it's not a problem. Have an Arabian Night for our vacuum cleaner. Well, the next myth or fact is that if you take a candle and a firework and activate the candle and bring it to the firework, it will activate. I think I've tested this somewhere before, maybe not, but I think I've definitely seen it somewhere before. And as I recall, it actually works. Well, let's not stall for time and let's quickly check it out. Let's take our candle, let's activate it, let's take it, let's put our firework next to it, and let's try to put the candle up to the firework and see if it works. And look at the screen, yes, it actually works, and it works very quickly and very easily. So you can use it if it's one of the useless facts of your game that nobody needs at all. So let's move on to the next fact. And then there's this fact. A fact from me. If you spawn the vacuum cleaner in pause, you can change the shape of the hose. Notice, please, I noticed you, and let's check it right away, as I think it will be very cool if it really works. And let's go to the vacuum cleaner card, put our vacuum cleaner and pause it. And try to change its shape. And look, it really works, which I honestly couldn't believe my eyes the first time I tried it. I was honestly in total shock, because it's really cool, you can do absolutely any shape you want to our hose. It sounds like a lot of work, but it's just the way it is. You can try to do it yourself, and really you can stretch the hose into absolutely any shape and it will still work. That is, in fact, it can be stretched from one end of the map to the other, it's a blast. And it's really works very strangely. I hope it's a feature and not a bug that our developers have allowed. One last fact or myth for today, let's see what happens if we save a spooter or spawn it on a spooter. It sounds a bit absurd, but let's see if it really works. We just save our spooter to a copy tab and then it will be spawned on another spooter. How can you only allow tautologies in one video? Forgive me, but that's how it sounds. Let's just go to our spavner and see if we can spawn another spavner. And go to this magic tab, and we can see that this actually works. And with toggle we can constantly spawn other spavnari. I do not know why it is necessary in principle, but in general it sounds cool, and why not? Well, the next fact goes as follows. If you hang a garland and turn off the wire display, the bulbs will remain hanging no matter where the wire from the garland is. It works or it doesn't. We go to Melon Playground and we just put up 2 walls and we attach our garlands to them. And we do it all like this. Then we remove the display of wires and see what we get. And it's pretty cool how it actually works. Look at the screen. We've got no wires left and just the light bulbs. And it's quite nice looking. Without the wires, to be honest, it's much better in my opinion. Give us your opinion in the comments, of course, if you didn't know about it. And the next bug, probably better to call it that. If you put the electric wheel to the left and change the speed in the wheel parameters, it doesn't change. Please believe me, I'm subscribed to you, and yes, I'm testing this. And let's see what we can make of this. Honestly, I didn't understand from that comment basically what exactly I need to do. And let's just look at the way I understood it actually. We just attach 2 wheels to the beam. I think these are the wheels that we need. One of the wheels, we set the parameters. Honestly, I don't know if that's for speed or not, and we'll see what we end up with. And to be honest, when I did all that, I didn't see any difference. I may have done something wrong or misunderstood something, so if you're watching this video and I did something wrong, just post about it. I'll be sure to fix it in a future test. Well, for now it honestly doesn't work very well, and basically I don't know how weird it is. Well, and the next bug, it's probably me. When I put a candle or something from the lamp section, then when I turn on the candle or something that illuminates, the light instantly turns off. I don't know why. Anyway, actually a weird bug, and let's see what can be made of it. And it's probably simple. We'll just turn the lights off or turn them on and put our candles on and see what we get out of it. So we just put our candles on the candlestick and turn them on. Basically nothing changes. Maybe this fact is from past versions and it doesn't work anymore now. Write in the comments if it's a bug and it's working for you. Really just write about it in the comments. But it didn't really work for me, and maybe it's just me. Please Melonfonk, add me to the next video. If you shoot a gun in slow motion and in also slow motion put a brick wall or mine in front of Melon, the gun can pierce the wall and kill Melon. Something doesn't seem to work to me, but let's see. I basically don't see how I can put a wall and a mine in a time setting, also Melon, and still have the gun shoot the turn. It doesn't seem like it would work to me, but let's see. So, we put the gun out first, freeze it, then we put Melon out and try to do something about it somehow. And actually, no matter how many times I try, this is not the first take of trying to record this particular fragment, and it didn't work out. Still, our gun doesn't penetrate a brick wall. Well, of course, after a while it destroys it, but it's of little use. So this bug or myth, I do not know, does not work. Again, maybe I did something wrong, then write about it in the comments. Well, I don't understand this bug at all. Melonfonk, I found the bug. I was just building robots and blew up a C4 with a light bulb. And the dust remained on the lamp, although there is no texture. Check it out, please. Honestly, I haven't figured out what an incandescent bulb is at all, but I suspect it's a regular Edison bulb. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, really, I don't know what an incandescent bulb is in Melon Playground. And let's just spawn our robots and then blow up C4 in there with the light bulb. And frankly, I don't think that's gonna work. I didn't realize what our subscribers meant. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm doing something wrong. So we spawn our robots and put a light bulb in there, and then we throw in some sachets. Just throw it in there and see what happens. And in fact, we'll get exactly nothing. In the replacement action, our robots just explode and it's no use. Again, I must have done something wrong. And the next fact. When I was playing, I found Melon's new skull. Melonfonk, mind you. I put an acid syringe in Melon. Now the new texture, the skulls, and it's true. Well, let's check it out. Really sounds promising, but I don't know how well it actually works. All we need to test it is melon and just a syringe, really quite simple. And let's inject our syringe into our melon and see what happens. So, it's slowly dissolving, and frankly, I don't think the texture is changing at all, and frankly, it is at first glance. Look at the texture of the old melon and look at the new texture, and it's essentially the same has changed. And the first fact, Melonfonk check, zoom in on a pumpkin or watermelon and smash it, then try to suck it into a vacuum cleaner. Honestly, I was shocked. And well, that sounds really intriguing. Let's check out how it actually works. And let's smash him like a pumpkin. Let's take our pumpkin, let's make him bigger. Let's go up to the we just smash it up and it breaks into big pieces. Let's try to turn on the vacuum cleaner now and see what happens to our pumpkin. And look at our vacuum cleaner sucking up this huge pumpkin. Basically, it's working honestly very badly, really just animating it in the most horrible way possible, just a chugging animation. I don't like it very much, to be honest. But in fact, who asks me? If you do not like it too, then be sure to write about it in the comments. It looks unnatural at all. Is not logical. Well, the next fact is as follows. If you enlarge a firework to its maximum size, it will not take off. Really cool sounding, and let's see if it works. To be honest, I really believe it works. Now we've scaled up the fireworks to that maximum size. Just for comparison, look at how an atomic bomb looks compared to this huge firework. It just looks as tiny as possible. Or look at how an APC looks, it's just an ant compared to these fireworks. And let's try and activate it and see what happens. I think there's going to be a huge explosion. We press the activate button and look at our firework. And look, it explodes just like a regular little firework. I was hoping for more. It's honestly not what I expected, but still the result is cool too. Let me know in the comments if you're surprised. And let's move on to the next fact. Well, the next fact is as follows. If you rip off the cord in a vacuum cleaner and shrink it, another vacuum cleaner can suck it up. I haven't tried that. So let me try it and see if it works. To be honest, it's actually a really cool idea. And let's try it. We take a vacuum cleaner, we pull the cord and we try to shrink it. Surprisingly, the vacuum cleaner shrinks first. The cord cannot be shrunk in any way, no matter how hard I try. But still, let's try to reduce the vacuum cleaner, not to reduce the cord. The cord of course does not reduce. And let's just try to vacuum, let's say, our little vacuum cleaner. And look what we get, and in fact we get nothing. The result is exactly the same. So this fact sounds fun, but it doesn't really work, because our cord doesn't shrink and it doesn't transform that can vacuum up our vacuum cleaner. Gosh, that's a lot to say about vacuuming today, but it's about a new update, so I can't do it any other way. And let's move on to the next fact. Well, the next fact is as follows. Actually, it's a myth. If you take two vacuum cleaners and turn them on at the same time, they will take off. To be honest, looking at how bogged down our vacuum cleaner is, I'll believe anything. And I'm about 110% sure it's actually true. So let's put it to the test. We take our two vacuum cleaners and we turn them on at the same time. Now we just point the hoses at each other, so to speak, and see what happens. And basically look what happens. These vacuum cleaners just start going crazy. They just start clinging to each other and they just start eating high into the sky. And eventually one of them tears up and somehow it flies further into the other one. All of this only works in slow motion. It works very poorly on regular footage, so keep that in mind. But it's a cool myth nonetheless. Let's move on to the next one. Well, the next myth is whether you can break a vacuum cleaner if you hit it a lot with something. And let's put it to the test. And so it's been a long time. It's been about 5 minutes now that I've been hitting this vacuum cleaner with just different things, whatever I've tried to do. And finally, I thought I'd try just hitting it on the ground, But basically nothing happens and our vacuum cleaner doesn't suffer in any way, just eventually the hose comes off. So this myth is not working, and let's move on to the next one. The following fact goes as follows. Did you know that if you turn the lights red, the hose from your vacuum cleaner turns blue? I think it works a little differently than you might think, but let's check it out anyway. Let's go to lighting and set the color of our map to red. Our hose has indeed changed its color to blue, as it appears at first glance, but in fact everything has changed except the hose color. So essentially the hose remains the same color and it looks like it's blue to us, but in fact it's the same gray. One last fact for today. If you turn on the night, the vacuum cleaner's pipe will turn white. I think the effect will be exactly the same as with the blue room, but let's check if it's some bug and just really whiter pipe. Gray, and let's go again in the lighting and set the color at night, and look, our elephant is cool, stands out. To be honest, I did not expect this effect, but in fact the real color remained. I do not understand why it works in principle, that is really just sticking out some cord, that is it really works, but the color is not white and gray. Geez, it's nonsense. To be honest, it's really some bug. I want the developers to see it and fix it because it looks maximum some kind of substance that glows in the dark. And it's very strange, you guys agree? Let's go straight to myth number 1. And it goes like this. You can spawn any item just by sending it to the Safes tab. And thus we can permanently spawn absolutely any item in this game with the Contraption spawner. And let's see if it really works. And let's try to spawn absolutely any item. For example, a Jeep. Before I do that, I check that it's not in the spawner. And let's see if we can get it in there. I'll just put the Jeep in and hit the copy button. It should be able to get into that tab, and let's see if that works or not. It seems to me that logically it should work somehow. We put the spawner and see in this tab, is our Jeep there or not? And yes, look, really our Jeep is saved under the name of copies, and we can easily spawn it at any frequency. Look at this really cool work. Honestly, I do not know yet how to properly use this spawner, but I think it is useful, and write in the comments in what way you can use this spawner. I'm really very interested in what it is still for what it is intended to do. And then we come to myth number 2. And it goes like this. Can a vacuum cleaner suck melon in? I was wondering if that could actually happen. Especially if he was pulverized. I don't think a vacuum cleaner could suck him up when he's big. But if you pulverize it, I mean, just break melon, then in theory it could work. Let's check it out. Melona is in full growth, and of course our vacuum cleaner can't cope and can't suck it in. Let's just break our melon and see if the vacuum cleaner can do the job or not. And unfortunately, that doesn't work one bit. Let's do the following. Let's try burning the melon's bones and do it again. Maybe it will somehow count as garbage and our vacuum cleaner will still want to do it. And we watch and basically nothing actually happens. I'm actually disappointed, because I'm hoping that some of this will work. Unfortunately, this remains a myth. If you know a way to get the vacuum cleaner to suck up our melon, then post it in the comments. And then there's myth number 3. Can a vacuum cleaner suck up a pistol bullet? To be honest, I'm very interested in testing this, because in theory it should work somehow. But maybe I'm wrong, and after all, the bullet is essentially particles, so maybe the vacuum cleaner won't do the job. Let's see how it actually works. Turning toggle on. Naturally, we turn on the vacuum cleaner and try to suck our bullet. Too many words suck in this video, but sorry, it's partly about vacuum cleaner. And let's see how it works. So basically, our vacuum cleaner is not up to the task and the bullet either doesn't make it in time or simply can't be sucked up, and that remains a myth. No matter how hard I try, no matter what I do, it doesn't work. It would be cool if the bullet went through the hose and then blew up the vacuum cleaner, for example. I am of course fantasizing and realize that this is a difficult task to apply. So let's just move on to the next myth. And then there's myth number 4. Can the vacuum cleaner work underwater? I think it is very interesting to check this, because after all, it is a vacuum cleaner, it is electronics, and in principle it cannot come into contact with water, because it should immediately switch off and stop working. We turn on our vacuum cleaner and put it underwater and see what happens. For the first 5 seconds it's like nothing happens, but after that it shuts off. And let's see what happens to it if we take it out. And look guys, it smokes, really just interestingly smokes. That very cool. Developers all the same thought out this moment and the vacuum cleaner actually does not work. And for that, the developers are as always respected. And let's move on to the next myth. And then there's myth number 5. Will the vacuum cleaner be able to contact the fire in any way? I mean, can it suck it up or on the contrary to make the fire grow? Because after all, the vacuum cleaner works by means of vacuum and it sucks in a huge amount of air, and in fact somehow it should affect the fire, perhaps to extinguish it, or on the contrary it lets say so more spread. And let's see what happens if we try to realize it somehow. Vacuum cleaner, and let's first try with the help of the elements of it to say so tear our vacuum cleaner, and while frankly nothing is absolutely nothing happens, so let's try to set our box on fire, maybe it will work somehow, and unfortunately nothing works at all. I think that even though somehow it should be logically accompanied, but perhaps the developers simply did not think through this point, that someone will think in principle to extinguish with a vacuum cleaner. It does not work, and let's this myth, or maybe fact, it's the right thing to call it, I found randomly, and it works 100%. If you try to suck the beam from a laser, it sounds weird, but let's just pretend it can be done. There's an interesting effect where the beam just disappears at a certain distance, as if the air that sucks the vacuum cleaner has an invisible hitbox. Basically work, and see how it works. If we point our laser at the vacuum cleaner tube, look, even if the vacuum cleaner doesn't work, there's some invisible distance between them and the laser is prevented from passing through it. To be honest, for me it was very strange, as if there was an invisible wall between them, and it's not some effect, it's not a trick, it's really happening in front of you on the screen. Story if you want to check if it was very strange for me, and I don't know why I wanted to check it. But it doesn't bother me in the slightest, and let's move on to the next myth. Well, the last myth today, but not the worst for sure. The item spavener can be connected to the reach egg with wires. I would say, it's probably more of a fact than a myth, because it's a really working item that really surprised me, because with this spavener you can make, for example, huge factories to produce something, that is, make some roleplay and so on. All in all, it's a very interesting story that for me, very much even I am interested, so maybe I will make some buildings with the help of spavener, or in general in principle with the help of spavener to make some videos. Let's see how it works. With the help of a wire we can connect the spavener to the lever, and then with the help of the lever we can activate the spavener, and accordingly the spavener item will also appear, which is very interesting. Even more interesting, why after the item from the spavener appears, it disappears after a while. This needs to be studied in detail. If you have already figured out Pavnery completely, please post in the comments how it completely works and what thought for what is there. Some of the tricks I've learned, and maybe I'll talk about it later. For example, I'll call the video all about spavnery or what you need to know about spavnery. In general, I have some such video in my plans to be released the other day, and so if you want to see this video, then be sure to write about it in the comments if you want to learn everything about the new subject. That's the end of my video.